when you're trying to ensure that people aren't able to purchase the second homes, it means that you are going to be devaluing other homes around. So there may be someone there who's purchased a home and wants to sell their property, which means that they might not be able to in the future get a buyer to purchase that property, unless, of course, they sell it on to someone else in Whitby. And I think what this is telling us is the fact that there are people who are taking a stand to protect their communities, to protect the young people, more than likely, young people who want to purchase their homes, and also to make sure that they protect their environment that they're living in. That doesn't mean that we don't build homes. We build homes going into the future. We build homes to make sure that they're built in an innovative way. And one of the things that I think that's coming out of this is, whilst we keep talking about building more and more homes, what we are not talking about is building safer homes. And the reason I bring this up is that we're not talking about the planning process. The planning process can be quite complex. But the one thing that this government should be really looking at is making our homes safer. Did you know that when you build high-rise residential properties, you need to have 2 stairwells? But if you build high-rise office space, you need 2 stairwells. But if you build high-rise residentials, you only need 1 stairwell.
What's the reasoning for that?
The reasoning is because the planning code stipulates that you have to, if you build high-rise an office block, you have to have 2 stairwells. But if you build a high-rise residential property, you have to have only 1. Now, where do you spend most of your time? You spend most of your time in your home if you purchase a property in a high-rise residential property.
I was not aware of that, and I have to concede that sounds pretty bonkers to me. Martin, if I bring this back to the second home in Whitby situation, Rabina is then saying that people in Whitby are taking a stand, they're protecting, their area, their environment, their homes for, their locals, which is all well and good, and I understand to some point, but surely these people must have been selling their properties to these second home owners in the first place. And the bit that I worry about this is all well and good taking stands and doing referendums and voting for this, that and the other. But if on the other hand, someone turns around to you and says, I'll give you X for your house, and you go, oh, yeah, OK, then, people are often motivated by getting the highest price for their own property that they can. Of
course. Firstly, I'd like to say it's great to meet a Liberal Democrat who'd like to honour the results of a referendum. I've met many of those over the past 7 years. 95% of people in Whitby voted for this because they're being priced out of the property market. Now, of course, it's not kicking people out who are already there. It is new homes. But I think there's a huge problem. First of all, property developers tend to be grasping capitalist so-and-sos, and they tend to like building houses in areas where they can get the maximum return. So I worry that this will just shift it onto other areas and they'll just build second homes for outsiders there. That's the first problem. I do like the idea, however, of devolution in terms of people power. And I would like to see a similar vote in Linton-on-Ouse in North Yorkshire, which at the moment is the unlikely and unwanting recipient of an immigration centre, an asylum seeker centre on the airbase. I was there last week. I spent the whole day with residents. They don't want this. They weren't consulted. They were never asked. So if we're talking about major developments having a local referendum and a voice, that's a good thing.